Hey there, Absolutely Gospel fans. We are here today with the one and only Ricky Capps of Master's Voice. We are so excited to feature them again on the site. How are you doing, Ricky?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we scheduled you in here, tightened you in. You were singing at a camp today. Is that where you were?
Yeah, we're at a camp. I was not aware that they were going to also have a morning service until yesterday. So thanks for working with our schedule. But yeah, we're in Arkansas at a camp.
Okay, all right. So I know a lot of people know who you are, but a lot of people still don't. I always like to call Master's Voice the one great quartet you probably have never heard of, because you guys are so based in the southwestern area of Oklahoma and Texas. Right. So like people in North Carolina or Georgia, they might not get to see you as often. And so that's why I always like to kind of call you that group. So for those who don't know who Master's Voice is, give a little history about you guys, and then we'll go from there.
Well, we've been around since 1995, from Bristol, Oklahoma, just south of Tulsa. And like you said, predominantly we stay in the Midwest. We love to go out east, but we go out about once or twice a year, but not enough to get a large following yet. But we're hoping that changes. So we're a quartet. We've been a quartet for 7 years, and we really kind of consider ourselves an evangelism team. That does not mean that we don't want to have fun or that it's not a good time when you come to our concert. But that in a nutshell, that's kind of what we are. I don't know what style you'd say we do. We try to do some modern stuff, some progressive Southern gospel, but we also like the straight up, piano, bass, and guitar stuff too. So we try to do a little bit of everything in our show. If you don't know us, it's hard to explain, I guess, what we try to be. But our fans and our heroes, the vocal band or Booth Brothers or Gold City, and maybe sprinkle a little bit of Eagles on that. That's what we try to do musically, I guess. So out here in the Midwest, where it's hotter than blue blazes right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than Tennessee, I can tell you that much. I always, I was talking to Michael Fever the other day just about how difficult it is to kind of pinpoint groups nowadays. In our awards, we have 3 categories. We've got the traditional, progressive, and country roots categories. And it's always so hard because most groups kind of fit in all 3 of those categories now, whereas 10 years ago, it was pretty easy to define the differences between the two. And now you guys last year won our traditional recording of the year for Solace. But that album could have easily gone in country or progressive too, so it's just, I guess it's just whatever fits it, whatever fits the mold you need at that moment.
Chris, sometimes we meet people all the time that don't like that it's that way. But to be honest with you, I would assume that the other groups have a similar philosophy. And when Paul said, "I've become all things for all people," if we do one style of music and go to a place, the chance that one style is going to hit every heart in there is probably a little arrogant and false. So that's why we try to stretch our styles to different. It's not because we don't like the purists. I mean, listen, I could just as easily listen to what the Inspirations are doing. Listen, they've got a niche, and I love what they do. For our crowds, that would not open as many doors ministerially, at least. So that's where we find ourselves.
Well, speaking of musical styles, then why don't you tell us a little bit about the new album? I know it got a glowing review on our site. So tell us a little bit about kind of your process behind it, who produced it, some of the songwriters, that kind of thing.
Are you talking about Solace or the one that
the new one? The new one just came out.
A real good day. My goodness. First of all, every artist says this. Their latest thing, they say, "Oh, it's the best thing we've ever done." I've never heard an artist say the newest CD, it's all right, But to us, we feel like God has chosen these songs to minister to us first. Very timely and opportunistic in the song selection. It was produced by Michael Sykes. It's our first time. We've left our label last year, and we went independent. We're working with Michael Sykes, and if you've worked with him, he's 90% psychologist and 10% musical genius. So he's a lot of fun to work with, and I can tell you that he pulled out of us things that we did not know was there. Some of the authors, man, Lee Black, Scotty Inman wrote one for us. There's a guy named Corey Barker. He and I forget the other 2 that wrote with him, but man, that they've written 3 of the songs that are on there that if you don't know who Corey Barker is, you're going to know pretty soon. He's a very talented writer. So we've got 13 on this new project, and we have 13 because we could not bring ourselves to cut anymore. We cut several good songs, could not bring ourselves to cut anymore. Stylistically, like for instance, our current radio single is Then and There, written by Barbara Huffman, Lee Black, and Scotty Inman. It's a kind of a Cajun feel, and it fits into that traditional Southern gospel. But really, that's about the only one that we have on there that's more traditional. A lot of the stuff is more progressive and or even country. We even have a song written by Randy Travis on there. It's kind of the recut of Raise Him Up that our bass singer sings, and it's dynamic. It's probably the biggest moment right now in our live set. So a little bit of everything. The cool thing about this CD for us is it's one of those CDs that it's easy listening. You can put it in your car and you can listen, and it doesn't wear you out with power ballad after power ballad. It's a fun CD to sing, and at the same time, I would say that one of the hardest things to find is faster songs that have a little bit of theological meat to it. And it seems like we've found 4 or 5 of them. So by far my favorite thing that we've ever done.
That's awesome. It's funny because you brought up the 2 songs that stuck out to me the most were, of course, Raise Him Up and Love Remembers, which was written by Devin McGlamory.
Devin,
2 fantastic songs, great radio singles if you ask my opinion. But thanks for sharing a little bit about that record. Like I said, it's got a glowing review on our site. Readers can go check it out. So now that we've come out of, well, we're still kind of in the middle of it, but we're seeing ourselves walking out of what was, the COVID-19 pandemic and everything that we went through in 2020 and continued into 2021. So how did you guys navigate those waters? And then what does it look like coming out on the other side of it for you guys?
Our lead singer, I heard him talking to someone the other day. He was not only talking about COVID, but diesel prices. We just got back from the West Coast where diesel was a little over $6 a gallon. Well, our bus gets 6 miles to the gallon, which means that's $1 a mile, And I like what he said. It's applicable not only with fuel prices, but also with the COVID stuff. When people ask us, how are you going to make it? Our answer is we're going to make it how we've always made it. We have never pretended to do this on our own merit or our own power or our own money. It's always been the providence of God. And I don't want to sound insensitive because COVID, we know some groups that it folded them up. But I can tell you that for me, it was a mathematical phenomenon. We lost probably right around, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. We lost probably around $300,000 of revenue in that year. And Chris, it's not like we had $300,000 laying around and nobody gave us $300,000. It's one of those loaves and fish type of things. God just made it enough. No one missed a paycheck here. And if that is not a testament of how the miraculous providence of God, I don't know, nothing. When I told my CPA, when we showed them what we did, they're like, Ricky, this is not possible. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it just was. I can't explain it. Yeah. So we, if anything, what it's done for us is just reminded us, God has kind of said, it's cute how you boys think that your hard work is really what got you there. Said, just remember, I am the only reason you're still around. Yeah. And that brings a lot of solace to us, to be honest with you. Same thing with diesel prices. I mean, we're fixing to go to Florida here in about 3 weeks. And that bus sure is nice. And we love it. We're blessed. And every time we put fuel in it, I want to set it on fire.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, okay. So you talked a little bit about, your group and the way you see things unfolding for you in the future. What does the future of our genre of music look like for you? What do you think is the future holds? What do we need to do? Where do we need to go next?
Gosh, all right. I will answer what we talk about on the bus, but here's my disclaimer is that I don't pretend to be an expert on these things. We hear some of the rumblings about how, man, crowds are getting smaller, therefore gospel music is dying. And I mean, I can tell you what we see. We try to keep things very simple because I'm ambitious and I want to make money. Personally, I think I would make a great millionaire. God is just not agreed with that yet. You know, I can tell you that we try to keep things simple. We try to love on people. We try to make it all about the Lord, and all the other stuff, all the results, and that's his business. I can tell people that if you think that this industry is going to suffer because maybe the lack of genuineness in artists or the lack of passion or the lack of truth in songs, we have not found that to be true. There's some of the stuff that the groups of ours that we still consider our friends and or our heroes that are putting out that we listen to on a daily basis that inspires us and ministers to us. I would say what Southern Gospel needs to do, a couple of things. Oh boy, I hope this is not going to be so unpopular we get messages about it. But I think that there's a lot of groups that are doing this that if that I think would probably be a great asset to their local church, but that maybe they shouldn't be doing this for a living. And I say that, gosh, I don't want, that is not, that I'm afraid that's not going to articulate the right way. What I'm saying is, man, if you're singing other people's songs and you can't sing on pitch, maybe that's not your calling. There is a little bit of a watered downness in some things. I can say this, that if you know that your calling is to do this, do it with excellence, no matter what it is, no matter what style you might have. God deserves our very best. And I don't like it when gospel music gets a reputation of ho-hum, home drum kind of thrown together. We're going to sing a little bit and have a good time and not really pursue excellence. Man, the country world, the secular world don't do that. They put forth a product that is top notch. I think God deserves at least that much attention.
Right.
I think if there's one thing we should do, it is to pursue excellence, not because we're trying to make it big and be rich, but because God deserves that. This is an important message that the world needs to hear that they might not hear if we look and sound like we're just kidding or doing it as a hobby. Does that make sense? Man, yeah. I hope I sound like a pious, pompous fool, but that's kind of what, when it hasn't worked, that's what we've seen to be the case, maybe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's it makes sense to me, and I think that's something that at least my family has preached for years. So you won't see any backlash from
well, good
from that. So
good. Well, in that case, when I get an email about it, I'm just going to say, hey, listen, the Unthanks is what told me that. I don't know.
Well, hey, and you can blame it on Dion and Susan because they're in heaven now, so it doesn't matter, right? So say Dion and Susan taught me that, and so that's what I'm going to stick with, right? So, all right.
Which, by the way, man, let me say this, man, your family's been so important to us. They've shown nothing but kindness to us. Your folks are some of the people that, man, when I saw them, I wouldn't see them for 5 years, but then when I did see them, man, it's like we picked right up, man. What a heritage and a legacy you have, and we're very thankful for everything that you guys have meant, not only to gospel music but to us personally. We appreciate everything you do.
Well, I appreciate it. The one thing that everybody kept coming back to when they talked to us was that particularly Dad, because Mom's been gone for over a decade, but Dad was, he was an encourager. He was a supporter. He was a protector of the industry.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Not enough of that.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys, Master's Voice came to one of the very first So Gospel News back in the day, So Gospel News music fests that we did. Tore the roof off. There were 5 of you guys singing at the time, and it was you guys came from Oklahoma. You didn't get paid to do it. You came and you sang, and you came for several after that. I mean, through group changes down to a trio and all that, and so your Master's Voice was a big deal to our family. So my parents would do anything in the world for you guys. So.
I still don't know why you, Amy, and Aaron don't y'all be the biggest, best thing going right now. What a talented family. So, well,
thank you. I appreciate it. One last thing before we go, Ricky, and that is, it's a question I've asked for years in every interview I do. And it's, what is God teaching you lately?
Man, I wish that I wouldn't, humility, and something that has been overwhelming to me lately has been centered around this fact that his faithfulness to me is not dependent on my faithfulness to him. Chris, I would tell you that I've probably failed as many times as I've succeeded for the Lord, but he's never failed me. And it's not that I expect him to, but I constantly am shocked at how good he is to me and my family. I do not deserve it. He could have called me to do anything. He could have called me to go dig ditches or whatever, but he allows me to preach and sing about this wonderful, life-changing gospel. And that's definitely not because I'm smart, talented, or good. It's just his grace and his goodness. So I would say that the older you get in life, you get some kids, you get some wear and tear on you, you get hurt, you get betrayed, and maybe you hurt and betray some folks. You start to understand grace more. So foolish to say this, but I had gotten to the point in my life where I felt like that I had squeezed all the goodness out of that topic of grace. Like I understood it. I could write a dissertation about it. I could preach on it and sing on it. And quickly God reminded me that I've not even scratched the surface of his grace. I would say that that's the thing that he's in our Bible study and in our time on the bus, that's dominated our time lately is just, man, can you believe God still loves us in spite of it all? I honestly can't understand it. That's really it. Like,
well, awesome. That's great news. All right. So they can pick up your album at mastersvoice.com.
Yeah, mastersvoice.com.
Right.
Of course, we're on all the streaming stuff as well. But yeah, we're excited about it, man. If they've ever not liked Master's Voice, give this CD a try because it's different, and I think they're going to love it.
All right. Well, that sounds great, Ricky. Appreciate your time, and we will talk again soon.
Chris, thank you. God bless, buddy.
All right. Thanks.